everybody. Warmly welcome on behalf of SLASSCOM for this CXO briefing, which we feel is a huge binder in the strategies of SLASSCOM. And today we have Julian with us. It's from Google, obviously, who's going to talk about innovation. Coming from the IT BPO sector and the knowledge processing sector, innovation today is nothing that we have to shout about, because innovate or perish. That's the game. So we are very fortunate to have Julian. And I know companies like Google invest a huge amount of money on innovation as well as R&D. So we in Sri Lanka, we are very happy to have you here, right, to share some of your thoughts and some of your direction, which will really help the industry and the participants today.
It's now my great pleasure to invite Julian to address you. Julian is Managing Director Southeast Asia Sales and Operations for Google Inc. Prior to that, he spent his entire life in online businesses working for Yahoo Search Marketing and the UK auction site QXL. Prior to moving to the Singapore regional office as head of Southeast Asia Sales, he was head of Google Australia, head of business development for Google Australia, helping small and medium businesses take advantage of online marketing. So if you, I know there are some budding entrepreneurs here, any questions, please do not hesitate to ask Julian. And also Sanath is the head of our entrepreneurship forum. These are moderators, so anything in regards to developing a new business and taking it to a whole new level, you can ask Julian how Google did it, and also his experiences across various other companies as well. Julian, the floor is yours.
Welcome, and I think the privilege is actually all mine to be here. Thanks so much for the invite. Am I allowed to walk away from it? Is that best way, wasn't it? Sounds a bit distant between everybody. Part of innovation is actually culture, and as a culture we don't really often wear suits, so I'm going to kind of, you can be serious without a suit is one of the things that we say, so I'm going to actually take my suit jacket on. I managed to have some of your fruit without getting over my nice white shirt that Rowan had created for me with the logo there. What we've seen and what we're seeing at Google happening right now is a massive pivot of power, if you like, in some ways, of where the people are on the internet. And just to put that in context, from 2010 to 2015, there's going to be 1 billion new internet users coming online in emerging markets, which obviously Sri Lanka as well. In fact, just over the next 2 years, there's 500 million people coming online. A lot of the time they're coming online in their first connections with a mobile phone. If you put that into context in the US, during that same period, the next 2 years, when there's 500 million coming online across emerging markets, there's just 15 million, 1.5, coming online in the US. So the future is very much in Asia, and Southeast Asia is playing a major part, certainly for Google and the industry overall. And so that's why we're excited, the sheer volume of people that are connecting for the first time, and how that might change their lives. People starting businesses, I've already talked to some people who have business proposals. There seems to be a lot of vibrancy and excitement, and that contrasts greatly sometimes when you go back to Europe, which is slowing down in terms of growth, to see the vibrancy in many of them. So the mission of the company is to organise the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. Now, I don't know about you, but for many of the companies I've worked for, missions are created and then the CEO puts them in the drawer and hides them away. This is the one company that I've actually worked for where their mission is front and centre of everything we do. Yeah? And it's such a grand mission that it's impossible to do. Right? If you think about how much data is created, even there's people emailing now or tweeting, that's more data that's being created by the second. Our mission is to organise all that data. And when I talk about data, it's not just web data. It's data in books, it's videos, it's any human-created data. So this is a very grandiose mission, but it's central to what we as a company do. And I think that's one of the cornerstones of innovation, is to have a very clear vision about what you want to achieve. It doesn't have to be as big a vision as that, but a big vision, whatever you're doing, is something almost reaching, we call moonshots, reaching for the semi-impossible. It starts there, I think. And I think what I'm going to do is talk about some 9 notions of innovation that we've kind of found to be useful. Again, it started for us, if you go back to Google when we IPO'd in 2004, in the founder's letter, we said we don't want to be an ordinary company, essentially, words to that effect. And it's ever since then, the challenge for us is to keep in our DNA that sense of innovation, that sense of great is not necessarily good enough. The interesting fact for the people I was talking to, those sort of 13, 14-year-olds, was that the companies that they're going to work for don't actually exist yet, which is an interesting concept. You're going to work for companies that don't even exist. And what struck me is I then had a second slide which talked about innovation and how the world's changed for entrepreneurs. And I know that's something that you guys hold dear to your heart. There was a company, I think it's called Ouya, that developed an Android-based games machine. So like a console, like an Xbox type PlayStation 3. And what they'd done is they'd used Android software to do this. They'd set out to raise $1 million. They used crowdsourcing. I think they used Kickstarter, and they raised $1 million in 8 hours. And then after 30 days, they'd raised $8 million, $8.5 million. So they stopped the funding. So I was telling these children, these kids about this. Isn't that great? Companies, you're going to be working for companies that don't exist, and you're going to see, a different way of funding, and suddenly there's a competitor for Sony and Microsoft there that's been created in 30 days. Hasn't the world changed? And this sort of 14-year-old put his hand up and said, I was an investor, I'm going to their launch party in a couple of weeks. It turns out they'd had 67,000 investors for that 8 million, and as crowdsourcing works, he was one of the people who was interested in that project and helped fund it. So there was me with a slide trying to say, look, this is how innovation works, guys, and there's one of the kids who's actually done it. So that was a big wake-up call, that the world is actually kind of speeding up, and there are different mechanisms. The playing field has been leveled. I'm not saying it's easy starting a company. My wife started her own business, and I know that the challenge that was to run that business, watching from the side. And I worked when I was in Australia, working with a lot of small businesses and entrepreneurs, and I really admired them. But one of the things that really encourages me is the barriers. The web is making the barriers to starting a business and growing a business much smaller. There's this book, The World is Flat, which is not saying the world is literally flat, but the playing field has been leveled, accessibility for everybody. And I think that's fundamentally important, particularly in emerging markets, where you don't necessarily have the resources, but you do have the enthusiasm, passion, and